Find the approximate distance from -11, -3 to 4, 10. So I want to find the distance between these 2 points. So I'm going to show you a way we can do this graphically. We're going to do a quick sketch, and we're going to plot those 2 points. So -11, -3. I'll put that -11. This will be my -3. So if I were to plot this, the x value and the y value, this is my x-axis, my y-axis. So -11, -3 would be this coordinate here. And then my x value is 4, y value is 10. So I go to the right 4, which will be somewhere about here, and then up 10. So I'll just put that somewhere here. So the coordinate 4, 10 would be right 4 up 10 will be somewhere here. And this is just a rough sketch, so you don't have to worry about it being perfect. Now I'm going to use Pythagorean theorem to find this distance. So Pythagorean theorem, you need to have a right triangle. So I'm going to create my right triangle. So I'm going to go straight down from here and then straight across from here. And you can see here that this is my right angle and I have a right triangle. So I'm just going to draw on the side that right triangle, because I'm going to use this to label it as I go along. So the distance we're trying to find is from this point to this point. So this is the side, the hypotenuse of the right triangle is the distance we need. So I just put a question mark. That's what side length I need to figure out. In order to use Pythagorean theorem, we need to know at least 2 of the side lengths. So in this case, we need to know the lengths of the legs, because we don't know what this one is. So, but I could find these on the coordinate plane since I know the coordinates of the points. So I look at the length of this side would be from this point to this point. So we need to figure out what is the length of that point to that point. Well, if I look at it, this point, the y value has a coordinate of 10. And then this point, the y value has a coordinate of -3. So we're trying to figure out what is the distance from 10 all the way down to -3. Or if it helps you, you could draw a number line. And we want the distance between 10 and -3. So here's 10, -3. So I want to know how far apart are these numbers. Well, here's a negative, so I know 0 is what separates negatives and the positives. And I can see from here to here, this is a distance of 3. And then from here to here, so the distance from 0 to 10 is just 10 units. So I know the whole thing would be a total of 13 units. So that is the length. That's how far apart the numbers 10 and -3 are. So I know that this would be 13. And you can see this is why I put this on the side, because it's a lot cleaner looking than this. It could get a little bit messy. And then I set it up again. I want to know what's the distance from here to here. Now this distance would be comparing these numbers. So now I'm looking at the number -11 and 4. So we want to know how far apart is -11 and 4. Because if we can figure out this length, then I'll know the length of the base of my triangle. Well, so 0 would be around here somewhere. The distance from 0 to 4 is 4. The distance from 0 to -11 is 11. So I know that the whole thing would be a total of 15. 11 plus 4, 15. So that would be the length of the base. So now that I have my right triangle, and I know the lengths of the legs, I can find the length of the hypotenuse by applying the Pythagorean theorem. So I have to create a square that extends from each leg. Same thing here. And I create a square coming off of the hypotenuse. And since this is a square, and this is 13, then I know that this has to be 13 also. And if I wanted the area of the square, it'll be 169. Right, base times the height, or length times width. And that same thing here. Since I created a square where one of the sides is 15, then I know this has to be 15. 15 times 15 is 225. That's the area of this square. And Pythagorean theorem says if we take the squares of the legs and add them together, it'll give us the square of the hypotenuse. So now I'm just going to add those two together. 225 plus 169, that equals 394. That's the area of that square. But we don't want the area of the square, we want the length of the side of this square. So if I know the area of a square, I can take that number, find its square root, and that'll give me the length of the leg. And since they asked me to approximate the distance, then I'm going to use my calculator, take the square root, and I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth. So the final answer here would be the approximate square root of 394 is 19 and 8 tenths. And we'll use this symbol to show that we rounded. So the square root of 394 is approximately 19 and 8 tenths.